Welcome to this week's Maryland's Missing and the Murdered. Maryland's Missing and the Murdered is a weekly YouTube channel that covers the topic of missing and murdered individuals from the state of Maryland. If you like this channel, please like and subscribe. Click the bell so you'll be notified when the next cases are released. This week, I'm covering the murder of Lara Crockett in Fallston, Maryland. Lara Crockett was a nurse who worked the night shift. Lara was married to a man who already had a child. Lara wanted children, but her husband did not want any more kids. While working the night shift, Lara met another nurse named Ricardo Muscolino. Lara and Ricardo went to Las Vegas as part of a nursing conference, and while there, they began to have an affair. A year into their affair, Lara divorced her husband. During this time, Ricardo branched out into his own and launched a successful nursing agency. Ricardo paid for Lara to go back to school to become a nurse anesthetist. However, the school was based in Washington, D.C. Ricardo was not happy with the distance, so he and Lara broke up. While in D.C., Lara began to see other people. When Ricardo learned she was dating, he became upset and asked Lara for the school tuition back. He even went as far as to sue her for the money. But for some reason, they began talking again, and Ricardo dropped the lawsuit. Lara and Ricardo had a destination wedding in Hawaii. When Lara had a miscarriage, she quit working. Eventually, Ricardo and Lara had 3 daughters, Vivian, Kylie, and Shelby. When Ricardo's company began to lose money, he stopped paying the bills. This threatened the family's home into almost foreclosure. In order to keep the family home, Lara and Ricardo agreed to separate. And Ricardo then moved to Florida. Lara put the home in her name. But after a while, Ricardo stopped helping Lara with money, claiming he was broke. Lara became involved in paranormal research. She set up cameras in the home in hopes of catching a ghost and started ghost hunting with a male friend. And this led them to having an affair. Lara's daughter Vivian found out that her mom was having an affair, and she told her dad Ricardo about it. On August 31st, 2016, the entire family was at home when the daughters heard screaming from their parents' room. Then came gunshots, and Vivian called police. While the police were responding to the home in Fallston, Ricardo showed up to the Harford County Sheriff Northern Precinct in Jarrettsville. He stated, quote, "I am a wanted man," end quote. They placed him in a holding room. At the home, the police got the girls out and discovered Lara in her room, laying on the bed. She had been shot 4 times. She was barely alive. Unfortunately, Lara did not make it. Ricardo was arrested, but was released on bail awaiting his trial, which is odd to me because generally if you shoot someone, you don't receive bail. During the investigation, police found a surveillance camera in the home that Lara placed in hopes of finding a ghost. On the camera was evidence of Ricardo walking into their bedroom before the gunshots. After the murder, Ricardo refused to sign paperwork to have Lara buried. Legally in Maryland, he was next of kin and he had the right to refuse burial. Lara's sister won a court battle to have her buried. This pushed for Maryland legislation to terminate the rights of a spouse who is charged with a crime in connection to the death of the victim, which means they will no longer have the right to make decisions for the deceased. In November 2017, Ricardo Muscolino was found guilty of second-degree murder and gun offenses. In February 2018, he received a sentence of 50 years in prison. He has a post-conviction hearing on December 12, 2022. Thank you for joining me this week. If there's a Maryland missing or murder case that you would like to see on this channel, Email me at marylandsmissing@gmail.com. Twitter is Maryland's M&M. Music is by Silent Vengeance. Sources will be listed in the outro. I will see you again next week. Be kind to one another. You never know what will happen tomorrow.